So hello and welcome everyone. We're now recording and you're very welcome to the second Global Engineers event of the year for 2021. Tonight we're celebrating the International Women's Day and all the amazing international women engineers who have come to Ireland to make it a better place. My name is Michael Gallagher, and if you have any questions about the event and the recording, my email address is there at the bottom. But without further ado, I'd like to start handing it over to some of our fantastic speakers and panels that we have lined up for this evening. So first off, it's going to be Cedra Mirza from the Engineers Ireland membership team, going to be talking about the perspective of being a global engineer in Ireland, and also a bit about what she's found good about kind of working within the membership team or being a member. Lisa O'Neill from Morgan McKinley will then be giving a perspective on some of the opportunities that are out there for female engineers in the current employment markets. And finally, Louisa Brack, who is a very successful global engineer with Jacobs, will be talking about her journey since she's come to Ireland in 2019. And yeah, I'm really excited about everyone coming up. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Cedra.
Thank you so much, Nihal, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this event of Global Women Engineers. My name is Cedra, and I'm from Pakistan. Nihal, would you be sharing my slides, please? Okay. So I will be speaking a little bit about my engineering journey, which is a short one, but actually a very exciting one. And I hope to inspire more young females to join and to work in engineering. So the picture that you see in this slide is actually a very blurry one, but it is the offshore a picture that I took in an offshore oil rig, and I'll be speaking more about it in the coming slides. So if you can do the next slide, please. Okay, so a bit about myself first. I am currently working as a membership executive with Engineers Ireland, solely looking after a database automation project. I did my bachelor's in engineering from Ghulam Isaq Khan Engineering Institution in Pakistan, and with my majors in lasers and optoelectronics. I then did a master's in business administration, and these days I'm a member of Institution of Engineers Ireland and also working with them. During my studies, I did a few internships. The first internship that I did was with Siemens, and it was an amazing experience because it was a pure electrical kind of a work that we were doing. The second internship that I did back in 2006 was with Schlumberger, and this was my third year of engineering. After working with them for 6 weeks on Pakistan oil rigs, land rigs, I then was offered a position with them to join them after on the completion of my engineering, basically. So moving on, if I can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so a little bit about the kind of work that Schlumberger does and what is it. Basically, Schlumberger is actually an oil and gas service provider company. So all the operating companies, they ask for whatever kind of service they need on their oil rigs, whether they be drilling or reservoir evaluation. All those services are provided by a lot of different service provider company, but one of them is Schlumberger. And they are operating globally. And the kind of discipline that I was working with them was reservoir evaluation. The first picture over here that you see is a cased hole logging. So the tools that the wireline tools that we work with were actually very high-end technology, and they encourage engineers from every discipline to join them. And then when we first joined, we are given very rigorous trainings. The other picture on this slide is of the learning center. So after completing 1 month I was relocated to Australia actually from Pakistan. So after completing 1 month in Australia, I was then sent back to Middle East Learning Center, where I spent 3 months and having all sorts of learnings and developing myself in this particular role. Um, One of the main things was stakeholder management and liaising with the clients, since it was a service provider company, building relationships and managing professional relationships with the client was also one of the main aspects of the job. And this was all then taught us in the learning center. The interesting bit about the whole thing was then when I first joined them and I went for orientation to Abu Dhabi, this was the first time that I actually moved out of Pakistan. So when they say that engineering provides you and is like a passport to opportunities and a passport to the world, it is actually very true in my case. So to the other slide, please, Mihal. So moving on, I would like to talk a little bit about the life offshore. I actually worked on the land rigs. I worked on the offshore rigs, on jackups, on floaters with Schlumberger. I could say that 80% of our time was spent on the base. So the tools that were assigned to us by the department was our responsibility, every engineer's responsibility. So on the base, we were required to take care of our tools, to make sure that they are functional, and to make sure that they are calibrated and certified and ready to go as soon as the job comes. The other aspect that we were trained from the beginning is the management of a crew of 3 to 4 people, and this was also given us, and during the training we were trained to how to take care of the tools and your crew. And then on the offshore rig, the important bit is that, okay, firstly, all my pictures are inside, you can see, because according to the health and safety policies, you're not allowed to take pictures outside where there is machinery and where there is things going on the rig. So the pictures are in my control unit, and the other one is inside the my small offshore room that we were given. Inside the wireline control unit, there are actually 2 ends of it. So the one end is the window pane that you can see, and from there we can see all the operation that is going on in front of us on the rig, whether it be drilling or anything else. And the second end was our computers, and if we are doing during the job, logging real time, we could see all that on the computers and then record it for the clients. So this was a small wireline control unit tour. And the second bit of the offshore is I think the life of offshore was, I wouldn't say very difficult, but it was interesting in kind of a way that most of the time I was the only female engineer on the rig. Most of the time was probably the youngest one on the rig. So these were kind of challenges that I faced back then. And the offshore rooms are actually very tiny as well. You can just imagine a box room in a normal Irish house, and then just imagine 4 bunk beds fitted in in the corners. And so these were the kind of this was the kind of situation that we used to be living on an offshore rig, but it used to be mostly for 2 weeks or maybe maximum 1 month that we used to be there. The picture on the top is the window from my room, and all I could see was just water, of course. So this was the kind of a tour of the offshore. But it's amazing. It's actually a very eye-opening experience in terms of when you see the miracles of science and technology happening around you. It's actually a totally different world. One thing that I would say over here is that it is not just a job, but it's a lifestyle change. So if anyone is really looking for a 9-to-5 job, then it's not the kind of thing that you want to go for. But it requires it is a very challenging situation that you put yourself in, because it's not just mentally challenging, but also physically challenging at times. So fast forward 2013, I came to Ireland, and I couldn't work for a while because of my visa status, which was a spouse visa, which doesn't allow me to work. And then later in 2020, I found a position in Engineers Ireland. And since then, I'm working with them since November last year. Michal, can you move to the next slide, please? So a few benefits that I see while being associated with Engineers Ireland is that number one is the sense of, I could say, like belonging and a community of international engineers around you, which I was totally unaware of before being associated to the professional body. And just to see that you're not alone in this journey, and there are other engineers who are, in a totally different world like you are, and struggling to establish yourself. So I think the sense of belonging and the sense of community was one main aspect of being associated with Engineers Ireland. And the second thing is networking. So in all sorts of events, and that Engineers Ireland do, like webinars and trainings, and you get to meet so many like-minded people, and you get to share your experiences as well as learn from their experiences. So I think it is a great opportunity for networking. Thirdly is the CPD, and a very important one, because after so many number of years, when you're going back to your engineering field, you feel like you need to upskill yourself. So CPD is the main element. And then the last bit is the community engagement and the volunteering side of it. And speaking on events like such, where you're in a when you are a panelist yourself, and volunteering in whatever terms is like giving back to the community, and it's actually a very rewarding feeling. So thank you very much, Michal. If anyone has any questions that they could ask, and also could email me if you just provide my email to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cedra. And just to say, on behalf of Engineers Ireland, of our wider team, is so incredible to have you working with us, a global engineer who has come to make their home in Ireland. Just before I hand over to Lisa O'Neill from Morgan McKinley, and to touch on some other points why someone might join Engineers Ireland, some real high-level overview of it, which I kind of cover in another recording on YouTube, would be kind of the certified membership, like whether it's you're coming in and you're applying for the chartered engineer title, or maybe through a mutual recognition agreement, you're coming in at one of the other professional titles, such as associate engineer or engineering technician. Just a lot of engineers love making Ireland their kind of base for kind of locating themselves for the duration of their career or having Engineers Ireland. And like a lot of this comes down to the fantastic international recognition overseas. This is two different agreements that Ireland's part of, both the Washington Accord and the European Network for Accredited Engineering Education. So being a member of Engineers Ireland gives you real career mobility around the world. A lot of people find it hugely valuable in logging their CPD. As a member, you get access to your membership dashboard where you'll be able to kind of actively track and monitor and find new opportunities to kind of continually professionally develop yourself, keep sharpening the saw and being the best engineer that you can be. There's loads of different types of CPD, whether it's work-based learning, self-directed learning, or undertaking courses or postgraduates courses. Loads of community groups. Cedra's already mentioned this, like whether it's a discipline-based division or whether it's an interest-based society, such as the Young Engineers Society or the Academic Society. Loads of opportunities for volunteering, like the STEPS initiative. This week is STEPS week, and it's all about encouraging the next generation of engineers to choose to do it in college. And also like the whole area of thought leadership, news and analysis, like through the Engineers Journal or the Engineers TV. So that's oh, and of course, career progression, which nicely transcends over to what Lisa's going to be covering now. But it's a great place to kind of be looking at what your next opportunity is going to be if you're thinking about another job in another company. And what we might do is Lisa O'Neill from Morgan McKinley.
So my name is Lisa O'Neill and I'm a senior engineering consultant with Morgan McKinley Recruitment, and we're delighted to continuously partner with Engineers Ireland to do these events. And we've worked very closely with them and successfully, I suppose, worked with and assisted, and placed members of Engineers Ireland in roles. Just across Ireland in various different disciplines. So just, I suppose, a small bit about us. So we're a privately owned global consultancy. We're the largest supplier of professional staff in Ireland with 17 offices in 9 countries, including 5 in Ireland. We work across 12 specialist areas in permanent and contract recruitment and also executive search. And in Ireland alone, we have over 300 employees. So across our desk, we have 10 consultants working on the engineering team, and we're all divided up into specialist areas across quality, validation, R&D, process, manufacturing, automation, maintenance, facilities, and project management. So we partner with clients such as medical device, life sciences, food companies, across a wide range of names like Pfizer, Hovione, Amgen, BD Medical, Kerry Group, Stryker, Dupuis, Boston Scientific, Helston. They're just, I suppose, a snapshot of clients that we would work with on a regular basis. So our nationwide presence gives us, I suppose, a good insight into our specialised areas, and we're very quick to adapt and work closely on the recruitment trends. So with regard to the engineering market, pre-COVID, it was forecasted that there would be 5,500 new jobs in the engineering sector in 2020. We were pleased to say that we were, I suppose, extremely busy throughout COVID. Manufacturing didn't stop. While hiring slowed, it was real progressive, and things have been extremely busy to continuing into 2021. So there is continued shortage across some of the engineering areas. 76% of employers are taking appropriate steps to upskill their employees, and 64% are collaborating directly with educational institutions. And apart from Q2 last year, there hasn't been a huge impact. And where, I suppose, the drive at the moment is largely been driven by pharma, med device, construction and data centre industries. So we work closely with the IDA, and we have a set IDA team within Morgan McKinley who will reach out to companies that are hoping to set up in Ireland. And that's just a list of companies that we're dealing with continuously. TikTok has had, I think, a huge growth in the last 12 months. So, it's great to get an insight into all of those companies and how they're growing and progressing. So just, I suppose, a quick snapshot of the manufacturing industry. 2020 results reveal that 28% of companies will hire the same number of graduates, and 28% they don't know the impact of their recruitment yet. But the top, they're the top 3 technical skills are analytical thinking, flexibility and qualification, and related to the job. So there's, there hasn't been a huge slowdown, and construction is the same. There are graduate, I suppose, roles that are coming on stream quickly, and now as things are progressing, there are more technical roles that are starting to come on stream and more senior positions. So we also have a salary guide, which you can access on our website, and that's released annually. And we work that out based on previous salary guides, and we collaborate with our clients, candidates in the IDA, and get a full rundown and a full breakdown. So it's broken down by discipline, location and level of experience. So that's all on our website as well. I suppose the next thing which would be quite relevant to global engineers would be the visa piece. At the moment, obviously there's a wide range of visas. What we will typically look for, and what companies will ask us to look for, is candidates with a stamp 1G visa or a stamp 4 visa. They're the more popular visas. Obviously the critical skills visa is another one. It's just with regard to skilled staff, the company's preference is usually a stamp 1G or a stamp 4. And we would always encourage people to have their visa status on their CVs. So I'll just give you a quick rundown on LinkedIn, because I think people underestimate the benefits of it in their job search. There's a couple of key things with regard to LinkedIn that will help you and assist you in your job search. Photo is a real, I suppose, key piece. So profiles with no photos get 14 times less views. Just ensure that they're work appropriate. High quality photo, professionally dressed, facing forward, and just ensure that, again, LinkedIn is not Facebook, it's a professional platform, so it should be used accordingly. And this is just an example of an ideal profile of Ricardo, who is a member of Engineers Ireland. And his profile is obviously, it's eye-catching, and it's thought-provoking for any hiring manager or any human resources manager that might be looking at your profile. Just keep your headline short and sweet, keep it memorable and keep it to the point. If you can get, your key pieces into your headline, it just means that they're getting it straight away and they're not scrolling through your profile to get the information that they need. So, if there are plenty profiles on LinkedIn that you can have a look at, if you're targeting a particular company for a job role, go into other members that are working in that company, and you'll get a good idea, I suppose, of what a profile that is within their company that they like the look of. Be smart about your experience. So list the jobs you've held in a brief description. You can make it more or less detailed than your CV. You're better off having, some short bullet points underneath each job experience, and include a lot of different roles and different, I suppose, something that will make you stand out from the crowd, whether that be volunteers experience. If you're a member of Engineers Ireland, that really should be up there. It shows that you're, I suppose, interested in your professional development, and that, it's a great piece on your profile. Just with the additional profiles, it depending on the level of experience, but try and get in some key information that's to the point. And LinkedIn will enable you to build a strong network. And obviously Engineers Ireland as well have a great page on LinkedIn that has everything up to date and really detailed. One thing as well that we, I suppose, assist a lot of the members with is interview preparation. So, obviously, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. So we take interview preparation really seriously. Your CV will get you in the door, and now is the chance that you take to present yourself and get your skill set across. So be confident and assertive, highlight what experience is relevant, and show that you want the job. Just with regard to pre-interview prep, understand the job description, know your CV, that can be a downfall where people are asked to talk through their CV and they can't. So it's just, don't take it for granted that you can speak about what you've written down. Have examples from your CV ready to draw on. Your interview styles, there's technical and there's competency based. So, there's the STAR format, and there's more HR focused interviews. And prepare relevant questions, and be fluent and clear in your answers, and stick to the point. So just some reliable tips on interviews. And I suppose, look, this is something that you can use in every way of life, but be punctual, know the date and time and exact location of your interview. Especially now that everything is online, make sure that, if you need a practice run with, whether that be Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Hangout, reach out to somebody and ask to do a practice run. It's really important that when you log on, that you're comfortable with the system and you're comfortable with how it works. At the moment, we get a lot of feedback from clients to say that somebody couldn't log in or they didn't know how to unmute their mic, just things like that. And we're always really happy to do it. Again, with the online piece, keep the dress code is still formal, and people seem to, I suppose, dress a bit more casually for a Teams interview. If anything, you probably need to overdress more so than you usually would, just to get your point across. So just be well groomed, switch off your mobile phone. It's really difficult to maintain eye contact with 2 or 3 people on a panel on an online interview. But just make sure you direct your answers to every individual and not just one person. So just a quick snapshot of current open roles. So we have a wide range of roles across the industries, and we're seeing more and more applications from female engineers, which is fantastic. So there's field service engineers, design engineers. The energy industry is something that has really progressed this year. It's really taken off. Process engineering, validation, quality, and equipment and utilities. So it's just, I think, I would always encourage you to apply for the roles and pick up the phone or drop us an email. We're always delighted to speak to people, whether that be look at my CV, is it okay? Can you make any recommendations and changes? We're always delighted to help any members of Engineers Ireland. And just finally, this is a testimonial from a female engineer who approached us based on a presentation like this that she saw through Engineers Ireland. So we just, I suppose I particularly placed her in her role, and I asked her to give me a testimonial. So, it's important that, if you're going to be working with Engineers Ireland, that you're working with kind of reputable agencies and people, whether that be us or other agencies, but people that listen to you, understand what you're looking for, and really get down to the, I suppose, the nitty gritty of what it is you're looking for, and not trying to, I suppose, get you into roles that you don't have an interest in. So look, I've kept it short and sweet for this evening, but I'm happy to stay around and answer any questions that anybody would have afterwards.
That was brilliant, Lisa. And yeah, again, on behalf of Engineers Ireland, I do want to say a massive thank you and to everyone in Morgan McKinley. You have been stalwart supporters of not only our global engineers agenda, but also our graduate engineers agenda. And we really do thank you for your ongoing support and partnership in those areas. So yeah, that was a fantastic presentation. And I am delighted now to share my screen one more time. If I'm able to figure out the technical way of doing so. It should come up now. And in sharing the screen, I'm delighted to hand it over to Luisa Brack. And Luisa Brack is a global engineer from Brazil who has been in Ireland now for a number of years, and who works for Jacobs. And Luisa, I'm delighted to hand the floor over to you and to tell us all about your journey as a global engineer on International Women's Day.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure and attend this event. I'm more than happy to share my experience here in Ireland and especially when Engineers Island. I would say that we have a close connection. We had a friendship, a long friendship, and to be honest, a change in my career, change in my path. So if you next slide, please. So it's just to show I started to present this type of presentation in back 2019 was the first time they present. So it's just to give you an idea. And next one. And now I'm going to talk a little bit of myself. So my name is Luisa Brack from Brazil. I'm a civil engineer. To be honest, engineer is my second college. And I was studying to become an astronomer at the beginning, and then I realized it wasn't my real call. And I decided I took advantage for the few lectures that I had done and transferred my course to civil engineer. And I'm super happy with my path and my career now. So at the moment, I'm kind of 10 years of experience in huge projects back in Brazil and here in Ireland as well. I can count my first internship back 2010. I was working as a planner, as a controller. I had the great opportunity to work with great planning engineers at the time. So I was always inspired by them. And I always wanted to pursue this path, and it worked for myself. And now talk about Ireland. My history with Ireland, it started in 2016 when I decided to come here to study English, but at the time just for 3 months. I wanted to improve my CV at the time, so I just took the opportunity. Okay, I'm gonna improve my CV, make more and reliable as well for the companies. And then I came here, I landed in Ireland 2016, and I fell in love with the country. And I realized the great opportunities here. I saw loads of sites, constructions all over the place, and I started to think, well, I think I might be able to work in Ireland as an engineer. So what do I need to do for that? And then I returned to Brazil, and I started to research and dig a little bit. And then I found the Engineers Island. And at the time I was in contact with Regiane. I always have to say thank you to her. At the time she works with Engineers Island as well. So she changed my life. So even when I was in Brazil, I was in contact with her. So when I arrived in Ireland 2017, I already knew everything I had to do to become a member in Engineers Island. So I brought with all my certificates, everything I need to bring. And then as the students should know, it takes a little bit like 2-3 months to settle down, find a place. I came as English student. So would they stamp two? Yeah, it's a long time ago, but yeah, I think it was a stamp 2. So at the time I just came to study English, improve my English first, make sure that the English was good enough, and then I started to pursue my career. So I think it was in March, because if you see our timeline. My first contact, to be honest, was December 27. I attended the first event. Was an event just for Brazilian, but I think was the when this kind of global event was born, was these engineers talking back 2017. And that thing, it was great. I could see and watch different engineers. They gave and shared experience, how the Engineers Island helped them. And I was more than sure that, yes, I need to go with them and then follow with them, and they're going to help me and they guide me through the old process. So once I became a member, I remember was 2018. The process to become a member at the time was a little bit different for today. I know that. I remember I delivered all my certificates. I had a quick interview with one of your staffs as well, the here Engineers Island. And I remember my certificates, my CV, everything, they went to a vote. So I was approved. And since the moment when I was approved to become a member, everything moved so fast. I remember it was in March. So nearly 2 months after, I attended an event exactly like this one that we are having now. But at the time, before COVID time, was face-to-face. So the the great thing was there was a network with companies. So the human resource, the recruiters, they're there. So we could deliver your CV, we could have had a chat with them, and that thing changed my career, my life, because I had the opportunity to have a chat and deliver my CV for the director of the human resource, the company that I have been working since then, and it was really good. So exactly 1 week after that event, they call me and say, "Are you up to interview with us?" And I say, "Yes, more than, please." I wasn't sure about my English, as we are insecure about those things, but I just took the mindset that, okay, it's the first step, it's just experience, go, and just to see how is the process, how gonna be the questions, how I'm gonna answer the questions, how is the process, how it's be interviewing here, Arna. So I went there, I had a great interview. I thought at the time I was having the interview with somebody from human resource or somebody from technical stuff in the company. But at the end of the company, I realized that I was having the interview with the directors of the company. So, and it was good because I didn't realize that, and I wasn't that nervous at the time. And I know everything was good. The interview was good. I could explain all my previous experience. They liked that and was exactly the role they were looking for as a planner. So I remember that day, literally 4 hours after that interview, they call me and say, we would like to offer you the job and sponsor your visa. So as your student, when Stamp 2, when you heard those things, you couldn't believe yourself. You couldn't believe that you were hearing that. So it was really good. The company was really good with me. We decided to apply for general employment visa. At the time, back 2018, when we applied, civil engineer wasn't a critical skills. So we applied as a general employment. But I was super happy anyway. I could work properly in my field. So, and I needed to say something here. The company was really good with me. As I was working, as I was a student, my visa was a Stamp 2. The company was really open. And at the time, I could work part-time with them while the process was going. We applied. We had a few hiccups in the middle of the way because I was the first female the company was applying for this. 1 month before me, they had applied for a mechanical engineer from Malaysia. And then 1 month after, they applied for my visa. So I was the first female for that. I was really honored when the company told me this. And was working in progress at the time. We were learning as long we were applying, so we had a few hiccups. The process took like 6 months. So during the 6 months, I was going for my school, having English classes in the morning, and then working during the afternoon. So it worked well for 6 months. And then in January 2019, finally we got approval. The visa was granted, so I could work full-time. And next slide, please. And since then, to 2019, when I was able to actually work with them. So now you can see the company, the amazing company that I have been working is with Jones Engineer. And I'm working in a fire protection division. So it's with the Irish Sprinkler. So when I have a chance to start work full time, the company decided to invest time on me. So they gave me the opportunity to take loads of courses, all the courses that you needed to take to be on site. So manual handling, safety pass. At the meantime, I took a course with Engineers Island as well, the Better Business English language courses for English for engineers. That don't have the English as the first language. So at that time was really good for myself because English, as you are a foreigner, English is always something that you're gonna keep back of your mind. That is something that you need to work all the time. It's a work in progress. You always gonna need to keep studying and make sure that English is the best that you can. So the next slide, please. And then more courses that the company gave the opportunity. So I took the lean in construction training as well. and few events that I had attended with them as well. So CFI, International Women's Day Breakfast Seminar 2018, and then another event, the Global Engineers event that I had to present as well. The next one, please. And I was a little bit surprised at the time, because when to be honest, my father, he's a professor in the college that I graduated myself. So once the college, they knew about my career here, they want they made advertisements to show for not just for women, but for everybody, that it's possible if you have the willpower to go finish your college, have experience, and try to have experience abroad. So I was very honored as well when my college decided to do this and show like a success case for them. In the meantime, the company decided to use my profile as well to create a graduate brochure and their website. They put my face there. So next slide, please. They use, what can I say? They use my case to show and inspire people that it's possible, even if you have just a student visa at the time, but if you have the experience and if you have the qualifications, yes, it's possible. So, and just a quick information, this guy in the middle of the picture, he is the first guy from Malaysia that got the visa. So we are together at the same boat at the time when the company were applying for our visa. So it's really good. We had the opportunity to work together as well on the same project. So it's really good. So next one, please. And here, it's Ricardo, the Brazilian guy. I think Lisa showed him as well. It was at the previous global event we had, Nihal, and then your colleague from Morgan, McClay as well. So it's just a picture to show that day when we have the presentation, the experience, that Engineers Island, more than happy to help every time that I can, and I'm available for share my experience. So next one, please. And this is just another event. The company at the time, they chose me to be in their panel in this type of an event for young ladies. They are starting their graduation as engineer, or they decided to if they're going to take this path or no. So it was really good experience to share my experience here, not just in Ireland, but my previous background as engineer. So it was a valid experience for myself. And next one, please. And this one, I believe, was one of the latest times that we could gather before the COVID time. It was the beginning 2020. So the medical independent, they decided to gather all the women. They were working in Newton Hospital. It's currently the project that I have been working. And they decided to gather all of them and create this beautiful picture and this article just to make a, I don't know, it's just to celebrate the Women's Day. So I was there and with the other women that I used to work, and also now we are working from home, so I miss them. Okay, next one, please. And as Engineers Island and we have this friendship, they decided to use my case as well in a partnership with the Silicon Republic. They created this article. So after this, I believe Nihal gonna send this slides for everybody, and then you can access those interviews that I had done as well. So it was really good. I was really happy and honored to could share all my experience and everybody. I hope that inspire people and prove that yes, it's possible. So next one, please. And now talking a little bit about future. I'm again with Engineers Island. I had started last year my CPD level 9. It's Future Leaders, Future Managers. So it's still open in air. I need to finish this year. It's promising. So yes, it's always improving, always studying, make sure that you want to stay in your comfort zone. So it's pretty much this, keep studying. And the next one, please. Last and the last. Okay, so this is kind of my motto. So lucky is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, from Seneca. I believe that happened to me. And it's not just enough to be lucky. We need to be prepared. So I believe I was at the right time, at the right place, and the right preparation, the right mindset to accept the opportunities, accept the challenge. And it's pretty much this. Just be prepared, prepare yourself, make sure that you're gonna do everything you can to succeed and follow and pursue your careers and your dreams. So it's pretty much this. If anybody has any questions, or just send me an email. I think I left in the last slide my LinkedIn as well. You can just expand your network and send me an invitation. So it's pretty much this. Thank you very much.
Luisa, thank you so much. And I think that was a really incredible presentation, really great way to end the recording and to kind of really showcase what a career as a successful global engineer can look like in Ireland. So thank you so much. I was really surprised to hear that you're studying astronomy in college, and I think that astronomy's loss is engineering's gain. So I'm so glad that you decided to pursue engineering instead. I would invite now Lisa and Cedra as well to maybe come back to the video screens, and as I end the recording, just to say thank you both so much on this International Women's Day. I think that there's a great message going out here that there are still some great opportunities out there for women in engineering across Ireland, and I want to thank you both as well. Well, thank all three of you for some amazing contributions. So with that, I'll end the recording and I will move into a